There's a TikTok trend right now. It's a dance trend where young ladies are dancing to 2Pac's How Do You Want It. The amazing thing about that track is, one, it's still a fantastic track. It's 2Pac. It's produced by Johnny J. Rest in peace, Johnny J, who died in 2008. Casey Haley, the great Casey Haley and JoJo Haley from Jodeci are on the vocals on that one. There were 3 different music videos for that one. You had the concert version, the Mechanical Bull version, and a version that will not be named. It's the explicit version. The videos featured Heather Hunter. If you don't know, Google her. She's an icon in her own right. But yeah, How Do You Want It is a fantastic. It's off the All Eyes on Me double album. It's an album that was different from Pac because a lot of, Pac was really good with social conscious stuff. Like Brenda's Got a Baby, and he made like cool tracks like I Get Around with Digital Underground. And that's one of the things I did miss from All Eyes on Me was his Digital Underground brothers being part of it. But All Eyes on Me is a fantastic album. It's a brilliant album. The only thing I hated about it when it first came out was that when you bought it, you didn't get the version of California Love that you hear see in the video. It's on there now, but back then it wasn't on there. It's like, where's the Joe Cocker version? But it wasn't on there. It was the other one, because in that for the California Love video, if you see the extended video, it's the version where it's almost like Mad Max, and then there's the second part where Pac wakes up, and then they're at a party at some mansion, someplace, and they're partying. But that's the version. That version's on that album. But overall, everywhere the city we go, in every video, everywhere I go, I see the same. So good. But let me go back to How Do You Want It? So the fascinating thing about this thing is that most of the young ladies who are dancing, they seem like they're like college age girls, young ladies. But it's the equivalent of back in the day. So let's say TikTok was around back in 1996. That's like young women I know. If we're doing a 28-year-old song, they're dancing to like the Temptations, Ain't Too Proud to Beg, or Get Ready. Great songs, but it's from a certain time period from 1966. How Do You Want It doesn't sound dated at all. I mean, How Do You Want It? If you didn't know who 2Pac was, not a clue, and you played this song, you said, wow, that's a good song, because it doesn't sound dated. So what is that saying? Are we saying, compared to 2024, as I'm making this, are we saying that the 90s, which was all great, that those 90 artists are far superior than the folks that's around today? Are we saying that? That part, I think we can clearly say that the artists from the 90s, no matter what genre, are a lot better than the artists of today. I think we can honestly say that. But musically, hip hop has failed over the past 10 years or so. Because even after Pac's death, music just kept on chugging along. After that, I mean, that's where we get like, the Fugees come out after that. And then we have like Jay stuff and M and DMX and Ja Rule and Kanye. We get all this great music. And I think that went all the way up to like the early 2010s. Like the other day, I was listening to BMF by Rick Ross, because MVP is a manager on AEW, and he has his theme song is Hurt Business, and it reminds me of a slower Lex Luger production. Lex Luger produced BMF for Rick Ross. Man, you forget sometimes what it feels like when you hear a song for the first time. When you hear BMF by Rick Ross, it's almost like, who in the world produced this? Because it's just chugs. It's like, oh, Big Meech, Larry Hoover, oh, but that beat just chugs. Like, oh my God, that's such a chugging beat. You don't get that today. I don't know I'm not even expecting anybody to be Ye or the Neptunes or Just Blaze. I'm not even asking for that. Like, who's Lex Luger? And Lex Luger was a solid producer, but I can't put him in the same category of Pharrell and Chad and Kanye and Just Blaze and Dark Child. I can't put him in the same category, but for his time period, for that time period that he was a hot producer. I don't get that same feeling anymore in a lot of tracks. Once in a while you hear a track that sounds pretty good. I think, like Glorilla, she actually had some good production on her stuff, but I don't know who does her stuff. But I don't know, man. I don't think in hip hop today we don't have the bulk of producers where they're crafting music where you're like, oh my God, this is so good. Like the production of How Do You Want It, it uses a small, I think, Quincy Jones sample. And what Johnny J did with that track is just legendary. So legendary that 28 years later, young ladies are making TikTok videos dancing to this track. A lot of these young ladies probably weren't even born. They probably weren't even born when Pac passed away. They weren't even born when his Greatest Hits album came out. Or Are You Still Down when that came out? Oh, it's fascinating. I thought when I see a bunch of dancers do Michael Jackson's Rock My World impersonations where they're dancing like him is amazing, just because that came out in like 2000, 2001. I was like, wow, this is amazing that they're dancing to a track from 2000, 2001, but now they're dancing from tracks from 1996. That doesn't sound old. That sounds brilliant, which I'm torn, because as much as I love this track, this is also telling me that hip hop has also stopped growing musically.